Hello guys, welcome to another commentary by me, Sankit. Welcome to the game. This is a game played on Infinity Isle. And today's players are Maniek on the left, DN Maniek 3C. I don't know how to say it, if it's Maniek or Maniek, but I hope I'm saying it somewhat correctly. Anyway, on the right we have Matiz playing Russian, and of course Maniek is playing allies as usual. So I posted up a game of Maniek last time, and I'm starting off with Maniek again because the dude is just brutal, man. He's just crazy. He's like a machine, and he's got some really nice play, which I think people can incorporate in their games, whether it be online or against a computer. If you want to have fun, you can maybe try the strategy against a medium or hard computer. And if you try it against a human player, you might want to scout a little bit before you do it. Anyways, enough enough of my input. Let's see what the players have to offer. The Russian or the Soviets, I'm not going to focus on that because it's not as interesting. It's pretty standard build. You know, reactors and refineries and war factory and barracks. Not necessarily in that order. The order would probably be reactor, refinery, barracks, refinery, war factory. The more interesting build order here is Maniac's because he deviates from the normal build order, build procedure. I think Red Alert 3 is going in a different kind of direction. Um, I I mean, I don't know if it's going in a different direction generally, but in the top games I've seen, there's a lot more rushing. I feel, especially from players like Maniac. I feel like there's a lot more kind of like, you know, rush at all costs kind of mentality. Like you sell your barracks, you sell everything, and you just rush forward. And that's the kind of player Maniac is. So if you like those kind of strategies, which can be brutally effective sometimes, then you should definitely check this one out. This is kind of similar to the one we've seen before. The strategy called, or I don't know if it's called anything, but it's where you use a Vindicator and a couple of Cryocopters, and you just take down everything basically. It's really effective. If you haven't seen it being used, then YouTube it, search for it. I know I've made a commentary on it, so you can check that out if you guys want to. I haven't seen anyone else post anything up on it, but I'm sure that it's out there somewhere. So yeah, that's definitely a strategy that you guys can employ. I mean, I'm definitely going to try it against the computer, a hard computer maybe. But I don't play much allies. Unfortunately, I play Empire, which I really love and enjoy doing. But it doesn't seem to me like there's many good good Empire strategies at the moment. Or if there are, then maybe you can bring them to my attention, apart from the ones that we've already discussed with Eureka, and well, there's a bunch of them, but I kind of wouldn't mind seeing that. But anyway, back to the game. The build order is a refinery, um, or rather, you got this. You have this reactor over here, and it's a good idea to place it a little away from the shore, definitely in the water, away from sight. Refinery, and only one refinery. An airfield, two cryocopters, and then a armored facility. You sell the airfield, you sell the MCV, um, and you have a bunch of cast now with no building capability whatsoever. Riptide just picked up an engineer from the MCV that got sold, which is always a cool strategy in case you want to take the opponent's buildings over. Then you queue like, I guess what Maniac's done here is queued like 7 or 8 Riptides here. Well, I guess we could check it out. That's the fun of doing these commentaries. You can see exactly what the player's doing. Yeah, he's queued up 11 Riptides, and that's all he can. That's all he can. That's all he can build basically, because he's sold everything. And here's a typical strategy: freeze down that sickle, and with a Riptide or a Peacekeeper, just one-shots it because it's frozen. So in the meantime, we can see what Matiz is focusing on a more balanced approach. He doesn't have much cash because he's building a crusher crane, and he's got the general build order with the super reactor. So Matiz is going for a longer game, so he's investing more, but he doesn't have that much cash right now because he's investing for a long-term game. So if it turns into a long-term game, there's no doubt about it, Matiz will have the upper hand. But as you can see, this game is, I mean, it's like, Maniac's trying to push this into a short game. Maniac's trying to make Matiz play his style, which is a fast-paced, a lot of micro, a lot of rushing, just pumping, going all in, pumping all your units inside. You see here, they take a lot of damage. I thought this MCV, which Matiz deployed, was going to trample over these Riptides, but he sells it at his Crusher Crane, and he gets 4,000 cash, or almost 4,000 cash, which is interesting because he needs the money. He needs to pump out some grinder tanks right now. And as you can see, he's building an airfield to counter the Cryocopters. Because these bullfrogs, they can't hurt ground units. They can only take down the air. The second phase of Maniac's offensive rush is to freeze the opponent's economy. So once you got your build order, once you've taken down the harmful units, like these bullfrogs, you focus on the economy of the opponent. As you can see, he just took down his Zor Collector, which means that Matiz has to use money now to rebuild it if he wants it, which is pretty damn annoying. And you can see Maniac's doing the same thing again. He's going to freeze the economy of Matiz with his Cryocopters coming in. One takes the Ore Collector, the other one takes a chunk of this wall, because the Riptides will use forever otherwise on the wall. You can see there's a hammer tank here, but he gets frozen, so it's like nothing's going to happen. And I mean, the grinder tank just will not have the armor capability to take down a simple thing like a Peacekeeper. So if you ask me, the Cryocopters are pretty powerful. I mean, they can completely change the makeup of these units. I mean, you can see this grinder tank is just, or sorry, this hammer tank is just, getting slammed by these normally relatively harmless ACVs or Riptides. But because Maniac plays to the strength of his units, he can just own just about any unit right now. You can see there's a hammer tank, but it's not really coming into play because there's so many Riptides, and I think Matiz wants these Cryocopters out of the way, which he's got airspace now. He must be happy. He's like, yes. But look what happens now. He's got only one tank, and one tank takes a while to take down a Riptide, especially with his secondary ability. So granted, congratulations, Matiz has got airspace, but he can't use it for anything. If you want a good counter for this strategy, I would use a helicopter. You should just build a helicopter instead of a MiG, maybe, to take down all these ACVs. Of course, easy for me to say because he needed to take down those pesky Cryocopters as well. So I totally understand why he did what he did, but it's just for another time. Don't build grinder tanks or hammer tanks. Just focus on building a chopper and a MiG, and you can pretty swiftly take care of all this stuff here. You will lose some of your base, but you'll eventually get whittle down the number of units. So that's it. GG. You see the strategy is really effective, especially when the player is not expecting it. Especially when he's whittling down for a long term, like